We were so excited. New Star Wars, man. What's it gonna be like? Holy cow. New Star Wars. The hype was a drug. It was everywhere. The world was buzzing. And I'm here to rank every Disney-era Star Wars movie and live-action show. Here's a disclaimer for those who are way too online and have a stick up their anuses. It's okay to like or dislike Star Wars. It's fine. We all like different stuff. Some projects are going to hit you and some are not. I personally think the mentality of Disney is ruining everything is just as silly as everything is great. Just like everything. My attitude towards this era of Star Wars is similar to my attitude pre-Disney acquisition. You know, there's Star Wars that I like, and there's Star Wars that I don't like. That's been the case forever. I'm 37 years old. There's been a lot of Star Wars that I don't like. It's only natural to like certain projects more than others. It's only natural to be bummed out when you want to like something, but you don't. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's also okay to rate and rank and pick apart and talk about endlessly the things you like and dislike. Because this is Star Wars. We've always done that. It's fun to talk about it. So, now that babbling disclaimer full of what should be obvious is over, here's how I rank every live-action Disney Star Wars movie and show, in no particular order. Starting with the sequel trilogy. Despite The Force Awakens being kind of a soft reboot, a reimagining of A New Hope in a way, I really love this movie. The Force Awakens is a warm blanket. It's fast and it's fun. The introduction of our new heroes and villains were wonderful. The very thought of the film fills me with so much nostalgia. I mean, the movie came out in 2015, 8 years ago. That's a pretty long time, man. It's hard to believe The Force Awakens is almost 10 years old. That's mind-blowing. But the anticipation and hype, the build-up was so intense. I love the movie, but I also love the memories that the movie brings up inside of me. Rey, Finn, Poe, a great trio. Kylo Ren, a tortured soul. Han Solo, a man who just wants his kid back. Force Awakens. It's a ton of fun. 8 out of 10. I'm a big fan of The Last Jedi. I love the connection that Rey and Kylo have. It's an incredibly unique addition to the mythos of the Force that we see on screen. I'd say more so than any other Disney-era project, The Last Jedi has had the most impactful and memorable moments for me. The ending between Luke and Kylo on Crate is magic. I personally think that Mark Hamill's performance in the film is the best performance we've had in any Star Wars thing ever. The Last Jedi is a Star Wars movie that, you know, thinks outside of the box and tried new things. When it comes to Disney-era Star Wars, it's the movie that I have the most desire to rewatch. 9 out of 10. I do not like The Rise of Skywalker. As a whole, I'm not a fan. Obviously, there are bits and pieces that I enjoy. You know, even if I don't like something, I'm gonna find something that I like, right? Like, I think once again, Rey and Kylo's relationship was handled very well. But pretty much everything else in the movie fell short for me. The biggest problem was reintroducing Palpatine. That decision is so boring to me, so unimaginative. Retreading on what came before is in a very ham-fisted way. Resurrecting a character to attempt to tie things up. So much of the movie just felt so generic. It felt so generic to me. The Rise of Skywalker is one of my least favorite Star Wars movies of all time. It might be my least favorite Star Wars movie of all time. When it comes to the Disney era of Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker is the movie I have the least desire to rewatch. 4 out of 10. When I first saw Solo, my reaction was a big shrug of the shoulders. You know, everything we knew about Han Solo's past was dumped into 2 hours. The Kessel Run, Han meeting Chewie, Han meeting Lando, Sabak, Han winning the Falcon. It's just the greatest hits of everything we already knew about Han's past. But the more I watch the movie, the more it grows on me. I appreciate it for what it is now. It's pretty fun. The cast is great. I think Alden Ehrenreich did a wonderful job. I would love to see a sequel or even a limited Han Solo series. My only request is that I would want it to be a little more lighthearted, a little more goofy. But yeah, Solo is fun, man. It's grown on me significantly. I'll give it a 6 out of 10, I guess. People are always surprised when I say I'm not the biggest fan of Rogue One. I appreciate that it took things in a more, I don't know, serious direction than I would say other Star Wars projects we had prior. But I never felt that invested in the characters. My favorite character was Chirrut Imwe. He left an impression on me, but I don't know, man, the movie just never hit me like it did so many others. People love Rogue One, and I get it. The ending is a huge climactic sky is falling, oh my god, over the top action-packed craziness with Monster Vader and some familiar faces, and a nice tight bow tied up on the present that is the gift of A New Hope. But overall, Rogue One is pretty low on my list of Star Wars movies. I'd love to revisit it now that I've watched Andor. Maybe I would like it more. I don't know. 6 out of 10. Andor is amazing. If I wipe away the nostalgia of my childhood obsession with the original trilogy, Andor might be my favorite Star Wars thing ever. I loved everything about it. The pacing, the tone, the characters, the drama, the political thriller of it all, the cinematography. It's a brilliantly shot show. Andor, in my opinion, wipes the floor with every other Star Wars show made thus far, in every aspect. While it does have familiar characters and connections, it doesn't lean on them. They don't seem front and center. They don't seem like the end goal. They don't seem like the point. Andor is just an all-around brilliant show. I'm so happy we have something of this quality in the lineup of Star Wars shows. It doesn't pander to cheap fan tricks that get uber fanboys to cheer for something they've seen before. No, Andor sets the bar for Star Wars television quality. Andor gets a 10 out of 10. The Book of Boba Fett, I barely remember watching it. It was a very forgettable series for me. Now, I don't mind where they took the character like so many other people did, but I just thought the series didn't have much to offer. Nothing that exciting. I liked what they did with Tusken Raiders, I guess. But again, the show really didn't do anything for me. Like, it's not a good sign when I try to think about the Book of Boba Fett show and I can barely remember anything about the Book of Boba Fett show, and the thing that sticks out to me the most are Tusken Raiders. I don't even know what else to say, man. It just was incredibly forgettable to me. I don't even know how to rank it. 5 out of 10, I guess? I don't know. The same is kind of true with the Kenobi show. I mean, it had its moments. I liked the aspect of like the Underground Railroad for Jedi. It was cool to see Ewan McGregor back in the role. But just like with the Book of Boba Fett show, Kenobi was kind of forgettable. To me. Again, this is all my opinion. It's fine. If you like it, great. Keep loving it. I'm glad you love it. Look, I'm the guy who always wants new stuff, right? New characters, new stories. I'm not a fan of continuously revisiting who and what came before. So maybe I instantly come at some of these projects with a little bit of, I don't know. Attitude is the wrong word, but I'll just say attitude. I don't know. But yeah, Kenobi. I liked it more than the Book of Boba Fett, I think. I'll give it a 6 out of 10. I don't know. I really loved the first season of The Mandalorian. We were jumping into new territory, new characters, new stories. This grand adventure that felt, on its own. It was great, but the second and third seasons kind of left me behind a little bit. What I loved about the first season was how it stood on its own, and then it kind of devolved into a Star Wars greatest hits. And that kind of stuff really doesn't do anything for me. When you introduce familiar characters at a rapid pace, it kind of waters down the good thing that we had going, which is a shame. I would have loved the entire series to remain its own thing without leaning on what came before, instead of being like a springboard for launching other shows, because that's kind of how it feels to me. When I think about it, it became a show that just introduced other shows. So The Mandalorian, it was so promising, but I've kind of lost interest in it, to tell you the truth. I'll give it a 7 out of 10, but that's really just because of the first season. I fear that the Ahsoka show is going to fall in the category of Kenobi and Boba Fett for me. I haven't been the biggest fan of it. It feels sterile, and the characters all feel flat. Haven't been the biggest fan of the acting. I like some of the concepts they're introducing, and I think the villains so far are the most compelling aspects of the show. But as of right now, I'm sad to say, Ahsoka is gearing up to be another kind of forgettable project for me, which sucks. I don't want to say that. I want to like it, but it's just not hitting me. So many of these shows feel so similar to one another, and I don't like that. I want some variety. That's probably another reason I love Andor so much. Andor feels different. It feels like an entirely different level of quality. I can't really fully rank Ahsoka yet, because it's not all out, but so far, I guess I would give it a 6 out of 10, maybe a little lower. I'll just say 6 out of 10. Oh, HelloGreedo! That Disney shill that you've heard about from other people who just gushes over everything Disney makes, but you've actually never heard him talk about any of this stuff. You've only heard other people talk about him. Oh well, there you have it. I'm kind of 50-50 with the projects that Disney has made in the Star Wars universe, which is fine. I'm old enough to realize that I'm not going to like every piece of Star Wars. That's how it was in the past, and that's how it is today. And once you realize that, then I think that's the first step to having a healthy relationship with whatever fandom you're a part of. Because if you're constantly on the internet bursting blood vessels, kicking and screaming about things you don't like, you kind of look silly. HelloGreedo, out.